First contact fiasco. The vast expanse of space had never felt so claustrophobic to Captain Ilara Chen as she stared at the alien vessel looming before her on the view screen. The Terran explorer ship Curiosity hung motionless, dwarfed by the sleek, silvery craft that had appeared seemingly out of nowhere at the edge of the Ta-City system. "Any response to our hails, Lieutenant Reyes?" Ilara asked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Negative, Captain," Reyes replied, his fingers dancing over the communication console. "Wait, incoming transmission." The view screen flickered, and Ilara found herself face to face with a being unlike any she had ever seen. Its skin was a shimmering blue-green, its eyes large and multifaceted like those of an insect. When it spoke, its mandibles clicked softly. "Greetings, unknown vessel. I am High Commander Zix Toral of the Galactic Concord. You have entered restricted space without proper clearance or identification. Please state your intentions immediately." Ilara straightened her uniform and cleared her throat. "I am Captain Ilara Chen of the Terran explorer ship Curiosity. We come in peace from Earth, seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent life in the galaxy." The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to narrow. "Earth? We have no record of this world or its species in our database. How did you achieve interstellar travel without registering with the Galactic Concord?" Confusion flashed across Ilara's face. "I'm sorry, but we're unaware of any Galactic Concord. Humanity has only recently developed faster-than-light travel. This is our first encounter with an alien civilization." The alien commander's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sound Ilara would later learn indicated extreme agitation. "Impossible. No species develops FTL travel without guidance from the Concord. Your presence here violates countless regulations and treaties." Dr. Amit Patel, the ship's xenobiologist, leaned in to whisper to Ilara, "Captain, it seems there's some sort of galactic governing body we were unaware of. We may have inadvertently broken their laws." Ilara nodded, her mind racing. "High Commander Zix Toral, I assure you we meant no offense. We're simply explorers, eager to learn about the wider galaxy. Perhaps we could meet to discuss this misunderstanding." The alien commander's agitation seemed to grow. "Misunderstanding? You have committed a grave violation of galactic law. Your ship will be impounded, and your crew detained for questioning. Prepare to be boarded." Panic rippled through the Curiosity's bridge. Lieutenant Commander Jack O'Neill, the tactical officer, spoke up. "Captain, their weapons are powering up. Shields are at maximum, but we're seriously outgunned here." Ilara's mind raced. They couldn't fight, and surrendering could mean the end of humanity's dreams of joining a galactic community. She needed a third option. "High Commander," she said, forcing calm into her voice, "please reconsider. We came here in the spirit of peace and cooperation. Surely there's a diplomatic solution to this situation." Zix Toral's reply was cut off as alarms blared across both ships. A massive energy signature had appeared between the two vessels, swirling and pulsing with otherworldly light. "What in the name of the first ones is that?" Zix Toral exclaimed, mandibles clicking furiously. Before anyone could respond, the energy vortex expanded, engulfing both ships in its swirling embrace. Ilara felt a moment of weightlessness, then a sickening lurch as reality seemed to twist around them. When the vertigo subsided, Ilara looked up to see a changed starfield on the view screen. The Curiosity and the alien vessel now orbited a massive, ringed gas giant that definitely wasn't part of the Ta-City system. "Status report." Ilara barked, fighting down her own disorientation. "All systems operational, Captain," Reyes reported. "But we're not in Kansas anymore. Stellar cartography can't identify our location." The comm system crackled to life. "Terran vessel." Zix Toral's voice rang out, a note of uncertainty creeping in. "It seems we have both been transported to an unknown location. I propose a temporary truce until we can ascertain our situation." Ilara allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes, The universe had a way of forcing cooperation. Agreed, High Commander. Perhaps we can start over. I believe we both have much to learn from each other. As the two ships maneuvered closer together, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that this bizarre turn of events was just the beginning. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage in the most unorthodox way possible, and she had a feeling the rest of the galaxy wasn't quite ready for them. Little did she know, light years away, in the heart of the Galactic Concord's capital, alarms were blaring. The impossible had happened. A new species had achieved faster-than-light travel without guidance, without regulation, without the memo. The careful balance of power that had kept the galaxy in check for millennia was about to be upended, all because humanity had missed a simple memorandum. As Ilara prepared to meet with Zixtoral and unravel the mystery of their shared predicament, the gears of galactic politics began to turn. The age of humanity's blissful ignorance was coming to an end, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what these upstart humans would do next. The galactic stage. 6 months after the Curiosity incident, as it had come to be known, the galaxy was abuzz with news of humanity. Captain Ilara Chen stood before the United Earth Council, her dress uniform crisp and her posture rigid as she delivered her report. And so, ladies and gentlemen, while our unexpected journey with High Commander Zixtoral's ship was initially tense, it led to a breakthrough in interspecies cooperation. Together, we navigated the anomaly that had transported us and made our way back to known space. In the process, we learned much about the Galactic Concord and our place, or lack thereof, in it. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Admiral Hiroshi Tanaka leaned forward, his weathered face creased with concern. Captain Chen, your report indicates that this Galactic Concord has expressed reservations about humanity's rapid expansion into space. Can you elaborate? Ilara nodded, her expression grave. The Concord operates on a principle of controlled technological advancement. Most species are gradually introduced to interstellar travel over centuries. Humanity's sudden appearance with functional FTL drives has caused significant concern among established galactic powers. Concern. A gruff voice called out. It belonged to General Sarah O'Brien, her medals glinting under the chamber's lights. It sounds more like fear to me. Are they trying to hold us back? Not explicitly, General, Ilara replied. But there have been suggestions that we slow our expansion, submit to Concord oversight, and integrate more gradually into galactic society. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. It was Counselor Zhen Liu who finally spoke, his voice calm but edged with steel. And what has been our response to these suggestions, Captain? Ilara couldn't help the small smile that tugged at her lips. We've politely declined, Counselor. Humanity has always forged its own path, and we see no reason to stop now. As the Council debated humanity's next moves, light years away on the bustling trade world of Tarthax Prime, two figures huddled in a dimly lit corner of a spaceport cantina. Dr. Amit Patel, formerly of the Curiosity, now Earth's leading xenobiologist, leaned close to his companion. Are you sure about this, Lyrax? The Concord won't take kindly to you sharing restricted technology with us. Lyrax, a centaurian with iridescent scales and 4 arms, nervously glanced around before sliding a data crystal across the table. I'm sure, Amit, what the Concord is doing, trying to stifle your species' growth. It goes against everything I believe in. This crystal contains schematics for gravity manipulation tech far beyond what the Concord allows. Use it wisely. Emmett pocketed the crystal, his mind already racing with the possibilities. Thank you, my friend. Earth won't forget this. As Emmett made his way back to his ship, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He was right to be paranoid. In the shadows, a figure with multifaceted eyes observed, mandibles clicking softly in agitation. Back on Earth, in a sprawling research complex beneath the Patagonian mountains, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, no relation to the Admiral, stared in awe at the holographic display before her. The gravity manipulation schematics from Lyrax had unlocked a world of possibilities. "This is incredible," she breathed, her eyes darting across equations and diagrams. "With this, we could revolutionize our drive systems, create artificial gravity wells, maybe even weaponize it." The voice belonged to Lieutenant Commander Jack O'Neill, who had transferred to Earth's Defense Research Division after the Curiosity mission. Yuki frowned. "That wasn't my first thought, Jack." "Maybe it should be," O'Neill replied, his expression grim. "The galaxy's not as friendly as we hoped. We need every edge we can get." Before Yuki could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. A breathless aide burst into the lab. "Doctor, Commander, you need to see this." They rushed to the Central Command Center, where a massive screen displayed a live feed from one of Earth's outer colonies. A fleet of sleek, silvery ships hung in orbit, their designs similar to Sixtoral's vessel, but on a much grander scale. Admiral Tanaka's voice crackled over the comms. "Attention all personnel. We are facing an unprecedented situation. A galactic Concord fleet has entered the Epsilon Eridani system, demanding that we cease all unauthorized expansion and submit to their authority. They are threatening our colony." Yuki and Jack exchanged worried glances. This was the moment they had feared. The Concord making good on its veiled threats. But humanity had not been idle in the months since first contact. As the Concord fleet moved to surround the colony, they were met with a surprise. Seemingly out of nowhere, a swarm of small, agile craft appeared, darting between the larger Concord ships with impossible speed and maneuverability. "What the hell are those?" Jack breathed, leaning closer to the screen. Yuki allowed herself a small, proud smile. "Gravity sleds, a little application of Lyrax's gift. They manipulate localized gravity fields, allowing for maneuvers that should be impossible." On the screen, the gravity sleds danced around the Concord ships, which seemed suddenly sluggish and outdated in comparison. No shots had been fired, but the message was clear. Humanity would not be easily cowed. Admiral Tanaka's voice rang out again, this time addressing the Concord fleet. "Attention, Galactic Concord forces. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend our sovereign right to explore and expand. We invite you to open diplomatic channels and discuss our place in the galaxy as equals, not as subjects." As the tense standoff continued, news of the confrontation spread like wildfire across the galaxy. On 100 worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes watched in awe and fear as the upstart humans stood their ground against the mighty Concord. In the Galactic Concord's capital, the High Council convened an emergency session. The carefully maintained order of millennia was being challenged, all because a single species had somehow missed the memo that was supposed to keep them in check. As Yuki and Jack watched the unfolding drama, a thought occurred to them both simultaneously. This wasn't just about humanity anymore. Their actions here, in this moment, could reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The stage was set. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. Now, they just had to survive the encore. Conflict and chaos. The tense standoff in the Epsilon Eridani system had stretched into its third day. The Concord fleet hung motionless, their weapons powered down but ready. Earth's gravity sleds continued their intricate dance around the colony, a constant reminder of humanity's unexpected capabilities. Aboard the Terran flagship, Defiant, Captain Ilara Chen paced the bridge, the weight of diplomatic responsibility heavy on her shoulders. Admiral Tanaka's hologram flickered beside her, his expression grim. "Any word from the Concord, Captain?" the Admiral asked. Ilara shook her head. "Nothing official, sir, but our linguists have been intercepting and decoding their internal communications. It seems there's disagreement among their ranks about how to handle us." A wry smile crossed the Admiral's face. "Good. Division in their ranks works in our favor. Keep me posted, Captain." As the hologram faded, Ilara turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Rivera, Status of our gravity sled squadrons. All squadrons report ready, Captain, Rivera replied. But there's something else. We're picking up unusual energy signatures from several of the Concorde ships. It could be nothing, but Rivera's words were cut short as alarms blared across the bridge. On the main view screen, 3 of the larger Concorde vessels suddenly shimmered and changed. Their sleek hulls became jagged, their silver sheen darkening to a menacing black. What the hell? Ilara breathed. Before anyone could react, the transformed ships opened fire. Not on the human forces, but on their own fleet. Chaos erupted. The loyal Concorde ships, caught completely off guard, scrambled to defend themselves. The gravity sleds, trained to expect anything, immediately moved to protect the colony. All hands, battle stations. Ilara barked. Get me a channel to the Concorde flagship now. Moments later, the familiar face of High Commander Zixtoral appeared on screen, mandibles clicking furiously. Captain Chen, we are betrayed. The Void Consortium, a radical faction within our ranks. They've made their move. Ilara's mind raced. The Void Consortium. She'd heard whispers of them during her time with Zixtoral, a group that believed the Concorde's methods of controlled advancement were holding the galaxy back. That true progress came through conflict and chaos. Commander, Ilara said, her voice steady despite the pandemonium around her. It seems we have a common enemy. I propose an immediate alliance. Zixtoral's multifaceted eyes seemed to narrow in consideration. After a moment that felt like an eternity, he nodded. Agreed, Captain. May the First Ones have mercy on us all. As the impromptu Human Concorde Alliance engaged the Void Consortium ships, the battle quickly spilled beyond the Epsilon Eridani system. Across the galaxy, other consortium sleeper agents revealed themselves, throwing carefully maintained order into disarray. On Earth, the United Earth Council convened an emergency session. The chamber was a cacophony of raised voices and conflicting opinions until Admiral Tanaka slammed his fist on the podium. Enough, he roared. While we bicker, our people are fighting and dying out there. We need to make a decision, now. Councillor Liu stood, his usual calm demeanor replaced by fierce determination. We all know what we must do. Humanity didn't come this far to cower now. I move that we commit all our resources to this fight, not just for ourselves, but for the entire galaxy. The vote was unanimous. In the Patagonian Research Complex, Dr. Yuki Tanaka and Lieutenant Commander Jack O'Neill worked feverishly, pushing the limits of the gravity manipulation technology. If we can extend the field, Yuki muttered, her fingers flying over holographic controls, we might be able to create a sort of gravity bomb. Localize singularities that could swallow entire ships. Jack nodded, his expression a mix of awe and concern. That kind of power, it could end this war quickly. But at what cost? Before Yuki could respond, a familiar face appeared on their comm screen. Dr. Amit Patel, broadcasting from a Centaurian science vessel on the front lines. Yuki, Jack, Emmett said, his voice urgent. We've made a breakthrough. The Void Consortium ships, they're using some kind of phase shift technology to alter their molecular structure. That's how they're able to disguise themselves and enhance their capabilities. Yuki's eyes widened. Phase shift. Emmett, what if we combine that principle with our gravity manipulation? Emmett's face lit up with understanding. A phase-shifted gravity field. It could penetrate their defenses, disrupt their molecular cohesion, and tear them apart from the inside. Jack finished, a grim smile on his face. As the 3 brilliant minds worked to turn theory into reality, the battle raged across the stars. Human gravity sleds, now joined by loyal Concorde fighters, darted between capital ships exchanging broadsides of energy weapons and missiles. On a dozen worlds, beings who had never heard of Earth just days ago now looked to the humans as potential saviors. The Void Consortium's attack had shattered the illusion of the Concorde's invincibility, and in the chaos, Humanity's adaptability and innovation shone like a beacon. Captain Chen's voice crackled over the general comm channel, broadcasting to every human and allied ship in the sector. All forces, be advised. Our scientists have developed a new weapon that may turn the tide of this battle. Stand by for deployment of Operation Singularity. As Ilara gave the order, specially modified gravity sleds moved into position around the largest consortium dreadnought. With a flash of energy that seemed to bend the very fabric of space, the phase-shifted gravity bombs activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent scream of tortured metal and disintegrating matter, the massive dreadnought began to collapse in on itself. In seconds, where a terrifying warship had been, there was nothing but a slowly dissipating cloud of particles. A cheer went up across the human and Concord fleets, but their celebration was short-lived. As if sensing their impending defeat, the remaining consortium ships began to flee, not through normal space, but through massive rifts torn in the very fabric of reality. They're using wormhole generators. Zix Toral's voice boomed over the comm. If they escape, they could regroup, strike anywhere in the galaxy. Without hesitation, Ilara gave the order. All ships with wormhole capability, prepare to pursue. We're taking this fight to them. As ships from a dozen species, led by the humans they had so recently feared, plunged into the swirling maw of the wormholes, the galaxy held its breath. The next few hours would determine not just the outcome of this battle, but the very future of galactic civilization. And at the heart of it all was humanity, the species that missed the memo, that refused to stay in its lane, that dared to reach for the stars on its own terms. Whatever the outcome, the galaxy would never be the same again. The truth revealed. The swirling vortex of the wormhole spat out the combined human Concord fleet into a system unlike any they had encountered before. A massive black hole dominated the skyline, its accretion disk a kaleidoscope of superheated matter. Orbiting this cosmic monster was a colossal space station, its architecture an impossible blend of organic curves and crystalline structures. By the first ones, High Commander Zix Toral's voice crackled over the comm. It's the Nexus. We thought it was just a legend. Captain Ilara Chen's eyes widened as she took in the scene. Care to fill us in, Commander? The Nexus, Zix Toral explained, his usual composure shaken, is said to be the birthplace of the Galactic Concord, a repository of knowledge and technology from the dawn of our civilization. If the Void Consortium has control of it, then we're in bigger trouble than we thought, Ilara finished grimly. All ships, battle formations, we need to secure that station. As the fleet moved into position, the Nexus suddenly pulsed with energy. A holographic figure, hundreds of kilometers tall, materialized in the space between the station and the approaching ships. Its form shifted constantly, as if unable to settle on a single appearance. Children of the stars. The figure's voice boomed, somehow audible even in the vacuum of space. You who have broken the cycle, who have dared to challenge the order we set in motion aeons ago. Welcome to the Crucible. Confusion rippled through the fleet. Ilara exchanged a puzzled glance with her bridge crew before opening a channel. This is Captain Ilara Chen of Earth. Identify yourself. The figure seemed to focus on the Defiant, its ever-shifting visage settling briefly into a mirror image of Ilara herself. We are the precursors, the ones you call the first ones. We are the authors of the memo you missed, human. The architects of the grand experiment you have unwittingly disrupted. A gasp went up across the bridge. Ilara's mind reeled. Experiment? What experiment? The precursor's form shifted again, this time resembling a Centaurian. Cycles ago, we seeded this galaxy with life, nurturing species towards sapience. But we saw how unfettered advancement led to conflict and destruction. So we devised a system, a carefully controlled method of introducing species to the galactic stage. The Galactic Concord, Zix Toral's voice was barely a whisper. Indeed, the precursor continued. a governing body to guide species, to ensure peaceful coexistence and measured progress. Each new species was to receive a memo, a subspace signal encoded with guidelines for their development. All species followed this path. Until you, humans. Ilara's hands clenched into fists. So you've been manipulating every species in the galaxy, holding them back. Why? The precursor's form flickered, showing flashes of countless alien species, to prevent the chaos you now see around you. The Void Consortium is the inevitable result of a species advancing too quickly, grasping power they are not ready to wield responsibly. That's not your decision to make, Ilara shot back, anger rising in her voice. You don't have the right to play God with entire civilizations. The precursor's form settled into a featureless humanoid shape, perhaps, but now you face the consequences of your unrestrained advancement. The Void Consortium seeks to claim our technology, to remake the galaxy in their image. Will you fare any better? Before Ilara could respond, alarms blared across the fleet. The Void Consortium ships that had fled through the wormholes earlier decloaked, their weapons already firing. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Ilara barked. Gravity slud squadrons, deploy Operation Singularity. The battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human gravity sleds danced between energy beams capable of sundering planets. Concord ships, their technology suddenly unrestricted by ancient protocols, unleashed weapons that bent the very fabric of spacetime. In the midst of the chaos, a small team led by Dr. Amit Patel and Lieutenant Commander Jack O'Neill made their way towards the Nexus. Their mission: to secure the precursor technology before the Void Consortium could claim it. As they fought their way through the station's twisting corridors, facing automated defenses and consortium troops, Amit couldn't help but marvel at the advanced technology surrounding them. "This is incredible," he breathed, examining a console displaying holographic code unlike anything he'd ever seen. "With this knowledge, we could solve problems we didn't even know existed." Jack, covering their rear, grunted, "Assuming we survive long enough to use it." Meanwhile, on the Defiance Bridge, Ilara fought a battle on two fronts, coordinating the fleet's efforts against the consortium, while also trying to reason with the precursor eye. "You say you did this to prevent chaos," Ilara argued, even as she issued battle commands. "But look around you. Your system, your experiment, it's falling apart. It's time to let go, to let species determine their own destinies." The precursor's holographic form flickered, showing signs of indecision for the first time. "But the risks, the potential for destruction, are outweighed by the potential for growth, for true cooperation," Ilara pressed. "Humanity missed your memo, yes, but look at what we've accomplished. We've united species that have been kept separate for eons. We're fighting alongside the very Concord that tried to contain us, against a threat born from the flaws in your system." As if to punctuate her words, a Void Consortium dreadnought exploded in a dazzling display of light, taken out by a combined attack from human gravity bombs and Concord phase cannons. The precursor fell silent, its form cycling through various alien appearances, before settling on a glowing orb of pure energy. When it spoke again, its voice was softer, almost wistful. Perhaps we have been observers for too long. The experiment has run its course." With those words, the Nexus pulsed with energy. Across the battlefield, consortium ships suddenly found their advanced weapons and defenses offline. The tide of battle shifted dramatically in favor of the Human Concord Alliance. Inside the station, Amit and Jack's team reached the central core, a massive crystalline structure pulsing with unimaginable power. As they secured the room, the precursor's voice echoed around them. "We entrust this knowledge to you, children of Earth and stars. Use it wisely, for the power to shape galaxies is now in your hands." As the last consortium ship fell and the dust of battle began to settle, the combatants found themselves facing a new dawn. The Galactic Concord, the carefully maintained order of millennia, had been irrevocably changed. And at the center of it all stood humanity, the species that missed the memo and reshaped the galaxy in the process. But as Ilara looked out at the stars, a mixture of triumph and trepidation in her heart, she knew that the real challenge was just beginning. How would they use this newfound knowledge and freedom? What kind of galaxy would they build from the ashes of the old order? The memo humanity missed had started them on this journey. Now it was up to them to write the next chapter in the story of the galaxy. A new galactic order. One standard galactic year had passed since the Battle of the Nexus as it had come to be known. The grand chamber of the new Galactic Council on Earth's moon buzzed with activity as representatives from hundreds of species gathered for a historic session. Captain Ilara Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood at the podium, her eyes sweeping across the diverse assembly. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions filled the room, from the crystalline Valorians to the gaseous Nebulites. In the front row, she spotted familiar faces: Dr. Amit Patel, Lieutenant Commander Jack O'Neill, and even High Commander Zix Toril, his mandibles clicking in what she now recognized as anticipation. Representatives of the galaxy, Ilara began, her voice carrying across the chamber. We gather here today not as conquerors or subjects, not as advanced or primitive, but as equals. 1 year ago, we faced a threat born from millennia of controlled progress and hidden truths. Today, we embark on a new journey, one of open collaboration and shared destiny. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Ilara continued, the knowledge left to us by the precursors has opened doors we never knew existed. But with this power comes great responsibility. She gestured to a holographic display showing the Nexus, now a hub of scientific cooperation. The Nexus archives are now open to all species, but we have agreed to form the Galactic Ethics Committee to ensure that potentially dangerous technologies are approached with caution and wisdom. Dr. Amit Patel stood, addressing the assembly. Our combined scientific efforts have already yielded incredible results. The phase-shifted gravity technology that won us the battle has been adapted for medical use, allowing us to perform surgeries previously thought impossible. We're on the brink of solving hunger, extending lifespans, and even reversing ecological damage on countless worlds. A Valorian representative chimed in, their crystalline form shimmering as they spoke. Indeed, and removal of arbitrary technological restrictions has allowed many species, including our own, to contribute innovations we had long kept hidden. The galaxy is advancing at an unprecedented rate. Not all the news was positive, however. Lieutenant Commander O'Neill, now heading Earth's Diplomatic Security Division, stepped forward. We must also address the ongoing challenges. While the Void Consortium was largely defeated, remnants of their faction continue to cause disturbances in the outer regions. Moreover, some species are struggling to adapt to the rapid changes, leading to social unrest on several worlds. High Commander Zix Toril rose, his posture a mix of humility and determination. The former Galactic Concord acknowledges its role in the stagnation that led to these issues. We are committed to working with all species to ease this transition, offering our experience in galactic governance while learning new ways from our human allies and others. Ilara nodded appreciatively before continuing, which brings us to the proposal before this council today. We've spent the past year operating under an interim government. Now we must decide on the structure of our new galactic society. The chamber fell silent as Ilara outlined the proposal, a federated system of governance that would allow for both unity and diversity. Individual species and worlds would maintain significant autonomy, but would also participate in a galactic senate where major decisions affecting all would be made collectively. Furthermore, Ilara added, we'd propose the formation of the Galactic Exploration and Peacekeeping Fleet. This multinational force will serve to protect our worlds, continue our exploration of the universe, and stand ready to face any threats that may arise. As the council debated the proposals, Ilara found her mind drifting to the incredible journey that had led them here. From that first tense encounter with Zix Toril's ship to the revelation of the Precursor's grand experiment, Humanity had been thrust into a role they never expected. The catalyst for a galactic revolution. The debate continued for hours, with passionate arguments from all sides. There were those who feared moving too quickly, scared by the recent conflict. Others pushed for even more radical changes, eager to break free from the last vestiges of the old order. As the session neared its end, a small, unassuming being floated to the center of the chamber. It was a thought weaver, a rare species known for their ability to perceive and influence quantum probabilities. Friends, colleagues, fellow beings of the galaxy, the thought weaver's voice resonated in their minds. I have observed the timelines of our possible futures. The path ahead is not without danger, but it shines brighter than any we have yet traveled. The humans' accidental defiance of the precursor's plan has opened up possibilities that were previously locked away. We stand at the threshold of a true golden age, if we have the courage to embrace it. A hush fell over the assembly as the weight of the moment settled upon them. Ilara stepped forward once more, her voice firm and clear. We missed a memo, it's true. We stumbled onto the galactic stage in a way no one expected. But in doing so, we've all been given a chance to write a new memo, together. A memo not of restrictions and control, but of aspiration and unity. So I ask you now, representatives of 100,000 worlds, shall we seize this moment? Shall we forge a future unbounded by the limitations of the past? The vote that followed was not unanimous, but it was decisive. As cheers erupted throughout the chamber, Ilara felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The galaxy had chosen its path. In the days that followed, as news of the new galactic charter spread across the stars, a sense of excitement and possibilities filled countless worlds. Ships of mixed species crews set out to explore uncharted regions of space. Scientific collaborations yielded breakthroughs at an astonishing pace. Ancient rivalries began to fade as species found new common ground. Yet, as Ilara stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned flagship Unity, watching Earth recede into the distance as they prepared for their first mission, she knew that challenges lay ahead. The remnants of the Void Consortium were still out there, as were other unknown threats. The rapid pace of change would undoubtedly lead to new conflicts and problems to solve. But as she looked at her diverse crew, humans working alongside beings they had only just met a year ago, Ilara felt a surge of hope. They had missed a memo and stumbled into a galaxy of wonders and dangers. Now they were writing a new story, not just for humanity, but for all sentient beings. The stars stretched out before them, infinite in their possibility. Whatever the future held, they would face it together, united by the most powerful force in the universe, the unquenchable desire to explore, to understand, and to grow. As the Unity jumped to FTL, embarking on its maiden voyage, Ilara couldn't help but smile. The memo they had missed had led them here, to the beginning of the greatest adventure in galactic history, and she, for one, couldn't wait to see what the next chapter would bring.